Fefails could have done that, but they chose to indulge in that because the truth is they want to be seen that way by the men that they are interested in.
So if we go back to the times that you're talking about within the late 90s and the early 20s, I'm sorry, but Destiny's Child, TLC weren't wearing mini skirts. It was actually people like Britney Spears.
I said video vixens. No, I said video vixens. So
video vixens
is different. That's my point. Those are the ones you're talking about. Artists. Hold on.
They're the ones that have the influence.
No, a lot of these video vixens are now what you call the influencers today. See,
Absolutely
artists, that's actually very true. Where do you think influencers came from? It didn't just happen randomly.
Right, but okay. So I will give you that point. However,
and
then,
Destiny's
your point about it coming from the 90s is it completely makes no sense.
It does make sense because a lot of these. Because listen, no. If you look at the 90s, hold on. If you look at the 90s, you have these. Hold on. If you look at the 90s, look at all the video vixens because a lot of these chicks were actors. A lot of these chicks were. Hold on. A lot of them were models. These were big time actors and models that were getting paid to push this baddie aesthetic. Okay, and a lot of the rappers, they pushed it as well. But the reality is they didn't create the baddie aesthetic. They didn't create it. They indulged in it because it had high sex appeal. But BLK Fefails ultimately now invented that image and made it a thing. They made it a thing. So even if celebrities, it doesn't matter, even if Beyonce was pushing it, Britney Spears, it doesn't matter. The reality is BLK Fefails made it into an image. They said, you know what? We love this image. We love seeing our video vixens. We love seeing our actors dress up and be a certain way. So we are now going to invent it for ourselves. That's the problem.
Okay, so break down because you keep using the word image. Break down the image and what that looks like.
It looks like a lot of weave extensions, skimpy clothes, and heavy makeup.
Mm-hmm.
That's the baddie aesthetic.
Is that mutually exclusive to is that mutually exclusive just to BLK Fefails?
They're the ones who invented it. Yes. It is.
Is it exclusive just to them?
I never said it's exclusive to them. I said they are the ones who invented it. Two different.
Period of time, looks have progressed, certain things have progressed, and I will say actually someone like Kim Kardashian is the main influence for why people have this image that they have today. Not people like Nia Long, not people like Gabrielle Union, not all of these, not people like Halle Berry.
So who do you think Kim Kardashian was copying? Who do you think Kim Kardashian was copying? A whitey woman?
I wouldn't be able to tell you.
No. Don't be stupid now. Don't be no. Be honest. So who was she copying? When she went to go get surgery, when she went to go and get surgery, when she went to go get a big backside and big lips, who was she copying?
Not Halle Berry, not
No,
Beyonce,
tell me what race? What race, Bambi?
I think she took inspiration.
What race was she copying? No. So every race is known to have a big butt.
There's plenty of white.
No, what race is known for being curvaceous and having full lips and a big nyash? Be honest.
I would say a majority would come within the black race, but I would also say that there's Arabs.
Okay then. All right then. So those are the ones who are known. All right then. So you just admitted that BLK, hold on, Bambi. So you just admitted.
Can you hear me?
I can. So you just admitted that BLK people are known for having curvaceous body and full lips. So
genetics,
when Kim we know that's genetics. That's exactly we know that. We know that. No, so I'm saying it. So Kim Kardashian chose to copy BLK Fefails because she understood that is the image that is going to trend. Hold on. No, how am I wrong?
Because
She not?
that's not why
So
she
do
done
you
it,
think
no.
Do you think Kim Kardashian would have been known if she didn't copy a BOK Fefails aesthetic?
No. I will say that what she done was to get herself a black man because that's what she likes is black men. And she
No,
knows
no.
black men are
Before,
attracted
hold
to a
on. We're
certain
talking about
look.
her aesthetics. No, if honest,
Yeah,
do you
I am
really
talking
think
about her aesthetics.
before she slept with Ray J, did she not have to have surgery?
No, actually, I think even before, if you look back at her pictures, aside from her face, she's always been kind of curvy anyway.
See, this is where you're lying because you would say, well, Kim Kardashian invented this
See,
image.
she
Hold on,
didn't
hold on,
invent
hold.
it.
No. You said that she invented the whole baddie aesthetic,
She
but you
did.
won't admit that she took it from BOK Fefails because she
copied
chose
it.
to have big bum
Well, she
and big
copied it.
lips.
Well, she
Exactly.
copied it,
So
but
she
that's
did
not a
it.
bad thing, though.
So she didn't invent the image if she took it from somebody else.
How is okay? But then, how is that negative towards BLK Fefails? Intimidation is the
Because
highest form of
BOK
flattery.
Fefails, because BOK
Intimidation is the form of
Fefails, because BOK Fefails use this whole body aesthetic. They use their body, they use all their genetic makeup to be degenerate. They use it to have high sex appeal.
And where do you get your research and your figures from? Is this just from the top of your head, or are you actually looking at any studies that have been done?
Well, let's take a look at who's the least married. Let's take a look at who's the least desired. Do you think it's a coincidence that BOK Fefails are the least desired and least married? Do you think it's a coincidence?
No, I believe that's years and years of oppression that black women have.
No, we're not going to do years and years. No, we're not. No, it's not oppression. So you're telling me. So are you telling me? Are you telling me years of oppression is why no one wants to marry BOK Fefails? Is that what you're saying?
I misspoke. Not years, decades.
Okay, decades. So how has oppression stopped BOK Fefails from getting married?
I'll give you a perfect example. So when you have people like Kim Kardashian, for example, what a black man would want.
Say BOK.
BLK. What a BLK man would want is for someone like Kim Kardashian to go and change the way that she looks so he can marry her. He wouldn't go and marry what we would call a so-called BLK Fefail because the skin color in itself, we've been told in this society that it's not desirable. We've been told that a big bum is, we've been told that big lips are, we've been told that luscious hair is, but when it's on a darker skin.
So how does that oppress? Okay, so what Kim Kardashian does, how does that oppress? How does that oppress? Hold on, how does that oppress a BOK Fefail? So how does what?
Married. You said
yeah. So how? Yeah. So how does? So how does Kim Kardashian being a degenerate affect BOK Fefails? I'm trying to understand. How does that oppress them? Do you know what the word oppression is?
I absolutely understand what the word oppression is. Did you understand
okay, then.
what I
so
said to you? Yes or no?
Yeah, you said that BOK men are going for someone like Kim Kardashian, and that's how it's oppressing them.
No, that's not what I said. I said
so how
because we're talking about in this day and age why black females are less likely to be married, and I've just specifically told you it's because a lot of men, because the generation that we live in has weaponized and made dark skin not appealing, right? Everything else that comes from a black female, like I said, the big bum, the curvy figure, the luscious lips, is all perfect on anyone else but a black woman. So
say BOK, please.
So BOK, sorry. So therefore, that's why it's less BOK women getting married and more people from different backgrounds getting married to BOK men. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does make sense. So it still doesn't change. So we're in 2026 right now, and you're telling me because of the oppression that's happened, that's why no one wants to marry them. Not because they have the highest single mom rate, not because they have the highest AB rate, and not because they are most likely to divorce compared to every other nation.
I mean,
did oppression also tell them? So did oppression also tell them to destroy their families and initiate divorce?
Right. Okay. So when you say something like initiate, because sorry, you're asking very loaded questions. So I'm trying to just pick one thing at a time, but let's go to the divorce part, right? So when we talk about divorce, we need to figure out the reason behind it. Now, we know in countries, I mean, we're both from the UK, but we'll use America because they have a much larger research area, right? When we look in specific countries like the Americas, we know for a fact that there are high rates of domestic abuse.
It's not the number one reason. It's not the hold on, Bambi, wait, hold on. I know you haven't finished, but I don't talk about that here because one, that's not the majority. That's not the main reason. No, that's not the main. Bambi. It's not the main reason why BLK Fefails initiate divorce. That's not even the number one reason.
I didn't say it was the number one reason. I just said it was.
Okay, so no, but that's not the majority. Okay, so if it's not the number one reason, then it's clearly not the majority. It's not the majority, but it's not part of the reason. It's not even over 30%. So it's not the majority.
Do you have a source for that?
Why don't you know this? So how are you talking about people that are in domestic AB, but you don't even know the source yourself?
Okay, so I'll give. First of all, when I speak, I'm speaking in a generalization.
Okay then. So Bambi, I'm telling you. So Bambi, it's not the majority. I speak about the majority. Majority of BLK Fefails are not in AB DV marriages. Do you know that they have the highest divorce rate? The divorce rates are so bad, it exceeds marriage rates. Do you understand? If it was majority of them divorcing for any type of domestic ABDV, it would literally be a worldwide phenomenon. So it's not the majority. We would all hear about it, trust and believe.
So what's the majority then? What is the majority then?
Majority is just irreconcilable differences. The second is infidelity. The third is financial issues.
Right. So let me ask you a question. If someone's husband if a BLK woman's husband goes out and cheats on her and then comes back, it gives her some sort of, let's say, STD, right? And she decides to divorce him. How is the blame gone back on her and not the man? I'm confused.
Okay, then, because I said this. The second reason, because she was the one that chose to be with that man. The reality is,
I beg your pardon.
Majority. What do you mean? I beg your pardon? It's just very simple.
You marry someone over a period of time. This person that you marry.
Do you know how many people?
If they're not the same person that you've married,
no, people are the same people. People are the same people.
People can't change.
No, people don't change. People only reveal who they are.
So you're no one changes. So you're the same person that you were 10 years ago?
Of course. No one changes. The only thing that happens is you grow, but all the things that you was going to do, you were going to do. That doesn't change.
People don't change at all.
People don't change. This is why they say, there's a saying, your true colors show. That's all that happens. They even say when people make money, when people get rich, you begin to see who they really are. The reality, people don't change. You only actually reveal who you are sooner or later, but you will find out who they are. They didn't change. You're just now starting to learn this is who they are. So really that reflects on how well did you actually know this person? They didn't change. You just didn't know them. And that's the real problem.
Okay. So let me just spin it another way then for you, right? You just didn't know them. Let me ask you a question. So if you marry a guy, right, and you don't really know who he is, and most men in this day and age aren't going to come out and openly say, look, this is what I'm going to do is I'm going to cheat on you, right? So you marry this person thinking that they're going to keep the promises of the vows that they have said in front of people, right? And they don't keep the vows that they said. Please explain to me how it makes it the fault of the BLK woman.
Because BOK Fefails marry for all the wrong reasons. They marry for money. They marry for the benefits of what comes with that man, not for the man.
That makes
So the
no sense,
reality
though,
is,
because if she's
it does.
initiating
Hold on,
divorce,
hold
if she's
on, hold
initiating
on.
divorce, then why would she? If she's initiating divorce and she's only getting
Because
married for
BOK
him because of his
Fefails
money,
marry for all the wrong reasons. That's
so then
why.
she
So
would
the
just stay in the
reality is,
relationship
so the
then.
reality is, hold on. So the reality is, they married the man for whatever they wanted from that man. They didn't really actually take a look at his characteristics. They didn't really take a look at maybe his past. They maybe didn't take a look at how he was raised. They just thought, well, whether he has money, maybe he has the aesthetics, or maybe we have great chemistry. Wherever useless
Perfect.
aesthetic and
Okay.
traits that they were attracted to,
Okay,
it
and
clearly wasn't consistent
But
with actual standards.
Right, but you've literally just slipped up on your point, because if they don't care about anything aside from the money, why would they initiate divorce? They would just stay happily married, because they married him for all the
Because
wrong
they get the
reasons
money
anyway. They
after.
didn't
That's
marry
why.
him.
No,
They
do
didn't
you not
marry
know
person for love.
Do you not, Bambi? Do you not know? No, BOK Fefails don't marry for love. Do you not
Okay,
know
so
when?
then- so-
Do you
so-
not
so then
hold
why
on,
would they
Bambi?
divorce?
So who keeps the money? Who keeps the houses? Who keeps the house? Who keeps the children after? Is it the man or the woman?
I mean, I think it depends on what type of agreement.
No. Majority of the times, who keeps the house? Who takes half the money? And who keeps the children?
Again, it depends on personal
It's women.
circumstances.
Come on, let's be for real.
Sometimes it can be men. Sometimes it can be men.
Majority of the times it's not men though. Majority of the time
not
it's the
majority
women.
of the times, I can
It
agree
is
with you.
majority. Majority of the
Yes,
times
I
it
did
is.
say- yes, it is. I agree with you on that.
Okay then. So initiating divorce actually benefits them because they get the house, they get the money, and they get the children. It's a win-win. So if anything, that would actually push them to do it even more because they get a bigger paycheck out of it.
Yeah, I guess that's an interesting take.
Okay, so I'm just going to introduce the next panelist. We got, don't even know what to say. What? Kiss? Lips? Kiss?
Anyways, I don't agree with your with what you're saying about black female. I feel like
Say be okay, please.
be okay, because I feel like everybody marries for money. What are we supposed to do if the guy's cheating? Of course, we're gonna marry for money. We're not gonna be dumb or foolish like some people. Like, what do you want us to do if the husband is cheating?
Yeah, so this is why BOK Fefails don't deserve family, because you just admit that they only submit to money.
Yeah, some want marriage, some want to marry for marriage. Not everybody wants love.
But you just said, what's the point of marrying for?
It's not
What
always- it's not always-
you literally
Listen,
just said it. Don't backtrack. You
always-
literally
it's
just
not
said,
always the
what's the
black
point of
people.
marrying for?
White people
What's the
do it
point
as
of marrying for love?
White
Just marry for
people do it
money.
as well. White woman marry black man for money as well. So let's not
Say
go
be
there.
okay, please.
If you wanna go there, we can take it there. I'm a black female. I'm a BK female.
Say be
As
okay.
you can
Say
see
be
on my
okay.
as you can see on my profile, I'm a BLK female. So I'm just saying, everybody marries for money. Not everybody wants the
No,
same.
not everyone. Not
everybody has
Not
the
everyone
same- what's
marries
that
for
word?
money.
Not everybody has the same intentions as other people. So do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
You can
no.
you can
Everyone,
jump me,
not
but
everyone.
a lot of you black man don't even love yourself. That's why you
Say
lot
be
go
okay.
white woman.
Okay.
I'm not married.
So,
I'm 28, and I can
all
use
right.
man for money anyways because I'm young. I don't need to be married.
All right, then. So the reality is not everyone marries for money. That's why other nations of women are thriving and in healthy families. BOK Fefails are the only ones compared to every other nation are failing miserably when it comes to having a husband, having a healthy family. Because all of the things that they care about is degenerate. This is why no one is marrying BOK Fefails, because of everything that you just said.
Well, everybody has different perspective. I didn't come here for the pasa. I'm just saying, yes, there are some people that marry for money, and there are some people that want love. Everybody wants different perspective. So yeah, I don't know what you are gaining.
Yeah, you're still not proving anything, because one, you just admitted you didn't. No, you didn't prove anything. You didn't prove anything. All you did was just admit. All you did was just admit that BOK Fefails are community boxes. That's all you just proved to me. And it doesn't make sense, because a lot of these Fefails are just not consistent. She will come up and say, what's the point of marrying for love? We should just marry for money. Well, you just told me why BOK Fefails don't deserve marriage. You just told me why BOK Fefails don't deserve family. You just proved it to me. That's why she's 28, have no husband, and getting her cheeks clapped. This is why you are the same BOK Fefails I'm talking about. You aren't any different. There's a reason why majority of them are not married. There's a reason why she ain't married. Ain't no different. You were just as degenerate as the Fefails that I'm talking about. All you did was say, this is why. You just gave me a reason why BOK Fefails do what they do. And this is it. This is why I say BOK Fefails, it doesn't matter how many degrees that they have. They really are a new level of slow. They're a different level of slow. Because the reality is, everything that they do is inconsistent. Everything that they represent is inconsistent. The only thing Fefails actually are able to create in society right now is degeneracy. There's a reason why they turn out to be baby mamas. There's a reason why they have the highest AB rate. And a lot of times, BOK people or anyone that wants to even try to help this argument always wants to use society, always want to say, well, the reason why nobody wants to marry BOK Fefails is because of society, is because of oppression. We're in 2026 right now. Do you not hear what BOK Fefails say? What happened to being educated and being independent? Now you want to say society and oppression is why you're failing? The only time, it's funny because BOK Fefails love to be masculine, love to do all bad by themselves until they can't do anything about their reality, and now they want to play a victim. Now you want to play a victim. What happened to your independent attitude? What happened to I can do bad all by myself? BOK Fefails don't deserve families because the reality is you're not even feminine enough to have a family. Do you not know families need a balance of masculinity and femininity? I think BOK Fefails missed the train there. You can't create a family whilst acting like a man and expect to find a masculine man to make a family with you. That's not how a healthy traditional family works. You actually need feminine traits. I understand it may be very hard to accept, but there's no qualities when you are a masculine Fefail. All the inherited values that they may have had doesn't exist anymore because they're too busy submitting to money. They're too busy being in the streets, too busy arguing with men about their own choices. Because that's one thing BOK Fefails are good at doing. That's one thing BOK Fefails are good at doing, is blaming everybody else for what they chose to do with their coochie. It's everybody else's fault that they're the ones who chose to be community boxers. It's their fault that they chose to open their legs to the wrong guy. It's their fault It's the men's fault that they chose to be in the street and be independent. And the worst part about it is then when they hit their 30s, now they want to make a change. No, people don't change. BOK Fefails don't change. Don't matter how you look. Even though majority of BOK Fefails have the highest obese rates in the UK and in the US. So a lot of times when they want to talk about looks, maybe you should talk about being healthy first. Because there's a problem when in the BOK Fefails, you don't even know how to be healthy anymore. Don't even know how to be healthy, let alone having a healthy mindset, but you can't even be healthy for yourself. There's a problem. That's the only thing BOK Fefails seem to be consistent at doing. And the worst part is they won't even want to admit it. No, they don't even want to look at it. Because how they see it is everything that they do is everybody else's fault. Every choice that they made is because they was a victim. Was you a victim when you chose to wear weave 24/7? Was you a victim when you chose to put on all that makeup? Was you a victim when you chose to put your nyash on Instagram to get flown out? Where are BOK being victims in 2026? All I'm hearing is really BOK single moms just creating a bunch of degenerates. That's all I'm really seeing. Getting ran through by the same guys over and over again. That's the only thing I'm seeing. But the only thing they can be able to do is to blame everybody else. And this is why BOK Fefails don't deserve families, because compared to other nations, they don't do that. Other nations don't do that. Other nations don't think how BOK Fefails think. That's why their marriages last. See, they understand what it actually means to be traditional and the value behind it. How come other nations understand what traditional value is, but BOK Fefails only understand how to be community boxers? They pride themselves in being so educated. They pride themselves in being everything under the sun, but somehow you can't be anything other than that? You're telling me you can't be anything other than a single mom? You can't be anything other than a divorcee. You can't be anything other than the highest AB rate, but somehow you claim to be the most educated? But their rap sheet is just completely degenerate. It doesn't even make sense. How come other nations are able to have fulfilling and thriving families? Why aren't they divorcing their husbands? And they're the most educated. They are the ones who are actually the most educated. And yet they can be able to stay in their marriages. Maybe because they're just not masculine. Maybe because they don't emasculate their husbands. They don't emasculate the men in their community. They don't do that. Maybe because they're actually proud about who they are and their culture and their roots. But BOK Fefails are the complete polar opposite. They will talk about, they want leaders, but you don't want to listen to no one. And this is why I say they aren't the smartest. It's giving slow. Because they will talk about, we need leaders. Where are the leaders? But when it comes to actually submitting, they don't want to do that. You're a walking, talking contradiction. You talk about where are the leaders. You talk about you want leaders, but then you choose the worst type of guy to clap your cheeks. And then when it comes to submitting to a man, you don't want to do that. It doesn't make sense. See, BOK Fefails are their own problem. Because they think it's down to a man for them to be traditional. It's down to a man for them to be feminine. It's not up to a man. It's not up to a man for you to do anything. That's the problem. What? Fefail. Fefail. That's what. See, it's not up to a man for any of these Fefails to be a wife. Well, when it comes to proposing, yes. But when it comes to actually learning traditional values, that's not up to a man. A man is not going to be the one to teach you anything other than your father. He's not going to be the one to teach you how to be feminine. So I don't understand, where do these Fefails get this ideology? They will say, I need a man to create a space for me to be feminine. You know why? Because she's so damn masculine that she needs a sucker to believe that. She needs the biggest simp out there to actually believe that he needs to be so masculine that her femininity is just going to come out. That's what she's looking. She's looking for a sucker. She's looking for the dumbest simp out there who actually believes that crap. Who actually believes that he needs to do anything under the sun for her to be feminine. The reality is, BOK Fefails will never be feminine. They're incapable of being feminine. When they spent majority of their prime years being independent, when a Fefail chose to be independent, she chose to be masculine. When a Fefail chose to be independent, she chose to be masculine. That was a choice that she made. And now when they begin to see that, hey, you're only getting your cheeks clapped, because it takes a while. See, they are able to get all the men that they want to run through them like the highway. But when it comes to marriage, they don't get it. But it takes them a couple of years. It takes them years to really realize no one's going to marry you. See, they don't realize it when they're 21 or 22 or 23, because how they see it, I got 24, I got 25, I got 26. But then when they start reaching 28, 29, and you look back at all the men that you let clap your cheeks and not one of them wanted to stay, now you want to talk about, I need a man to bring out my divine femininity. Now you want to acknowledge femininity exists. Now divine femininity is in your vocabulary. I don't even know why they put divine in it. What's the use of even putting divine? Bunch of word salad. It's just femininity. There's no such thing as divine femininity, divine masculinity. It's just masculinity and femininity. But you know what? They want to rebrand it because that's how far back they are. They're so far back from actually being feminine. Now they need to rebrand it. They need to rebrand it because they need to look feminine. They are the ones who need to look feminine. So they rebrand it into, I'm the divine femininity because you're so masculine. That's what Fefails do. They rebrand things. What? Princess treatment, celibacy. You're just a reformed 304. That's all you are. You're just a reformed 304. Just gonna quickly acknowledge a super chat. Thank you, Eric, sent $2. Most of you Fefails ain't wifey material, only for RUO. Facts on facts. They will never be wifey. They will never be wifey material because they think opening their legs is how to get a husband. That's the issue. They think looking like a community box, acting like a community box is what's going to get them a husband. Should they stay single and give up? It doesn't matter what they do. They're always going to be single. That's the point. It's not that should they stay single and give up. There's nothing you can do. You already failed. What, do you think they can one day wake up and be traditional? Do you think one day they can wake up and be feminine? Or do you think one day these independent masculine females can one day and be submissive? I know people will feel like I'm being pessimistic. But the reality is, do you really see BLK females waking up one day and say, I'm going to be feminine and submissive? No, what I do hear them saying is, I can do bad all by myself. See, they're the ones who dug a hole that they can't get out of. There's nothing about should they do this or should they do that. They dug a hole that they can't even get out of. The reality is, BLK females created their own problem and don't even know how to fix it. But what they want is for everyone else to fix it. Now, somehow we are supposed to give you solutions. But when they do give you solutions, you don't want it. BLK females don't want the solutions. But what they do want is weave on their head. What they do want is to post their nyash all over the internet. You can't even tell BLK female to dress modestly. Try and tell BLK female, stop wearing them skimpy leggings. Stop going to the gym like you're going to the strip club. Stop putting them leggings all the way up your crack. Stop going to the gym looking like you're looking for someone to clap your cheeks the same night. You try to be okay, FIFA, just dress modestly to the gym. WW3. You will see a WW3 come out. It'll be bigger than America and Iran. You can't even tell BLK FIFA to dress modestly. You can't even tell her that. And somehow they always expect people to give them solutions. The solution is dress modestly. Why don't you cover up for once in your life? Why is it every Instagram profile looks like a Playboy magazine? Why is every profile looking like you're marketing yourself? Why is it every guy has seen your nyash before they met you? Why does every guy know what your body looks like before they've even met you in person? They haven't even heard your voice, but they've seen your nyash. There's a problem when a man can go on your Instagram and knows what your nyash looks like, but has never heard your voice, has never seen you before in his life. But he can take a screenshot of your picture and use his right hand with. There's a problem. But you tell a BLK female, fix your profile and actually look like a woman with some self-respect. It's always going to be a problem. So when females tell me, should they just give up? What should they do? None of you females want to do anything. That's the truth. None of you females none of these BLK females want to change anything. How long have BLK men said, wear your natural hair? How long has this natural hair movement happened? BLK females have become even more hard-headed and putting hard hair on their head. I've never seen a group of women like BLK females who advocate for fake hair the way they do. I thought I would never witness it in my life, but they love their fake hair. They will marry that weave before they will submit to a BLK man. They will submit to that wig that they wash in their sink before they will submit to a BLK man. If that wig could speak, they will listen. If the wig could speak, I'm telling you, they would listen. If the wig said, go and get me a hair dye, they will go do that. If the wig said, I can teach you how you can keep me for another 10 years, they will do it. They will listen. Because there's no way someone could be so attached to fake hair. They're more attached to hair that has been shipped in China than a human being. They're more attached to wigs, and they're more attached to sticking glue on their edges and their eyelashes than a human being. There's a problem with that. Now you have a whole man competing with your eyelashes and glue. Why is a whole BOK man competing with your eyelashes and glue? Why are you more committed to wearing eyelashes and weave on your head than an actual BOK man? So when these Fefails ask me for a solution, it don't make sense. Don't ask for a solution. Just admit you failed. Just admit you failed. That's the best thing you could do. Just going to acknowledge the super chat. Thank you, Darwin Walker. Thanks. $3. Keep trying to help women, especially the younger. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate you. Because the reality is, these BOK Fefails, they will never admit that they failed. They would never admit that they failed. So they would rather blame everybody else. And if they do admit that they fail, you are going to be the reason for it. The system, the patriarchy, feminism, BOK men, and any person other than them is the reason why they are failures. Not the choices that BOK Fefails make. Not the 10 years, 20 years of you being independent and choosing all the choices that you made. No, that's not the reason why you failed. That's not the reason why you're masculine. And the reality is, BOK Fefails did anything and everything they could do to even get the men that they got. That's the most pathetic thing. Is a lot of people don't understand. A lot of men don't understand is that a lot of these BOK Fefails, they did so much to get those men's attention. Because the reality is, if you have majority of these Fefails only attracted to a certain percent of men, they know this. They know, well, a lot of other chicks want the guy that I want. So she did the most to get his attention. They don't do the most for majority of men, but for that one guy they do. So you need to understand, a lot of these Fefails, they did everything they could to get noticed by this one guy. They did everything they could to get in bed with that one guy. Because remember, this one guy has a lot of chicks that want him. There's a lot of other Fefails that are also willing to give up their nyash. She ain't the only one. A lot of them are throwing it at him sometimes. So the fact that she is the one that's in his car, in his house, on his phone, she did the most. So when she does get them cheeks clapped, so after they got them cheeks clapped and they did everything they could to get this guy's attention, and he doesn't marry her, he keeps her in a situationship He gives her the girlfriend experience, but never makes her the girlfriend. This is why they get so angry and bitter about men. These Fefails don't tell you they do the most just to get that guy's attention. Their stories, their pictures, their makeup, the way they dress. Just to be rejected. Just to be rejected after how many months, how many years? Now they're back to, well, he didn't want me after all of that. That's mind-boggling to these Fefails. They don't get it. They're confused. They're angry. And all they can do is lash out on men that didn't do nothing to them. Okay, then, so I just wanted to say really quickly, I am going to be changing the prompt. So everyone that's on YouTube, I'm not shutting down the live. I'm just changing the prompt. So just hold on tight. I'm changing the prompt just to try and get a conversation going. Everyone on YouTube, no, everyone on TikTok though, sorry. Everyone on TikTok, I am going to be locking off the live and starting it again with a new prompt. Just to make it clear. So everyone on YouTube, I'm not shutting down the YouTube live. I'm just changing the prompt on TikTok. But on TikTok, you are going to have to come back with a new prompt. And I'm going to try and get a conversation going. So please be patient. Everyone on YouTube and everyone on TikTok, just come back when I'm live in about 2 seconds.
تأكبكم بدي يهرأني زارب አይደለም ብንዳቦይ ብንዳደይ ነርታአኪቡሲ ዓዲዩ እቶም እንዳቦይ ጥራይሳ ዓዲዮም ኩሉ ሰብ ፈልጥ ሚና በዘርአይ ሙሉ ፈልጥ ዓዲዮም ገዛና ካዎም ተፈሊና ስቂልና ለናብዚ በርመን ዛረብ ምን ብዑግ ዛረብ አው ምዑግ ዛረብ የለን ክዛረብ ተኮይናኔ ግን ተላውጡልና ኣለኹም ከም ሰብ ከም ዘይተወለድና ኣብዚ ገለኹም ትፍክሩ ገለኹም ገለትብሉ بزخنا دحان تحزنوا هزبيكم مغناتو سباتينا خمخاتكم أحواتكم كائنا وانوتكم نيرنا نخون كوهم تتبلوكو بحاني وقاليخ بالخليخة يعني أحواتكم سي ببيخم بديهم ولا ينولد أحواتينا قن تاقر فتيراتنا الله حجي سي نزي حتو زغري بقاسي
Okay, thank you. So this is the new prompt. Single moms are the least desired. Oldie but goodie. So, welcome. Yes, back to the single moms. So single moms are the least desired. Why do I say single moms are the least desired? I mean, the number one reason that I see repeatedly with a lot of these Fefails who pop out their pitneys, the fact is they are the easiest in the dating market. And it's important to recognize that. It's important to recognize that a lot of these Fefails and their pitneys are the easiest. Because this is how they got there. Majority of these Fefails who turn out to be single moms, they became that way because they are the easiest. Thank you, Ojo. It's important to recognize that they are the ones who will give easy access. They are the ones who are most likely going to allow a man who has no standard, a man who doesn't care about nothing, accessibility to clap her cheeks. Because how did the baby dad do it? See, the reality is a lot of these Fefails will say, well, we want the next man to be traditional. We want the next man to be a husband. We want the next man to be able to step up and be the man that I need. But meanwhile, the baby dad couldn't be the man that you needed. So it just shows you that when these Fefails were with their baby dad, they made it so easy for that man. Because if you didn't make it so easy for that man, then you wouldn't feel the need to now change your standard. Why do so many of these baby mamas, these Fefails, these single moms feel the need to have to change their standard? If you didn't feel the need to have to change your standard, maybe you would have been married. Maybe you would have stayed in a relationship with your baby dad because you are consistent with your standard. But they're not consistent because they made it easy for that guy to clap her cheeks. And a lot of men know this. A lot of men understand this. When they see the baby mama, when they see the single mom, they know damn well she's easy. Nobody wants that in a wife. Nobody wants someone that was easily swayed into opening her legs. Nobody wants a Fefail that clearly had no standards for herself, let alone her pitney. There's nothing attractive about a Fefail who clearly couldn't live up to any standard whatsoever. Compared to every other woman in the dating market, compared to every other Fefail, she is the easiest. And the truth is, if she didn't have that pitney, she would have still been giving it out. The only thing that kind of stopped her was her pushing out her pitney. But even so, a lot of these single moms, they're still dating. They're still going on dates. Still meeting up other men. They're still booking hotels or sending their child off to a babysitter just to get their cheeks clapped. They don't just become these great traditional women. No, they don't do that. They try, they attempt to, but they can't. It's not within their nature. It's not within their nature to be wives. It's not within their nature to keep their legs closed. It never was and never will be. So the reality is, a lot of these single moms are the least desired because their standards are so low that is just not attractive. And even their own baby dad knew that. Even their own baby dad recognized that their standard is not consistent with anything traditional. It was clearly obvious that you was comfortable getting your cheeks clapped. You was clearly comfortable with not following any type of standard. You was clearly comfortable with popping out a baby with no ring on your finger. They always want to say, well, why didn't the baby dad stay? The baby dad didn't want to stay. It's just that simple. I will never understand when these Fefails say, why didn't he do this? He didn't want to. It's just that simple. Why do you need an essay of explanation? The man didn't want to stay. The man just wanted to bust a nut. See, a lot of these Fefails want to make it complicated. There's nothing complicated about it. You opened your legs and the man didn't want to stay. Just admit you took an L. That's really what you should say. You know what? I took an L. The man that she chose to open her legs with just wanted a nut and left. But a lot of these Fefails, they want to make it seem as if you need a story, No, the baby dad didn't need nothing to clap your cheeks. He didn't need an essay. He didn't need a story. He didn't need anything to clap your cheeks. So what makes you think he needs a reason to leave? It's just as simple as he doesn't want to. Just like it's very simple for you Fefails to unalive your unborn babies, it's very simple for him to leave. These Fefails, it's easy for them to spread their legs open and pop out how many babies with how many baby dads. Then you got the baby mamas who have multiple baby dads, which I can never actually fully comprehend how they could even have more than one baby dad. That's beyond me. That's beyond a reality that I can never comprehend. How are you comfortable pushing out another pitney for another man? That's all you are at this point. You're just an incubator, just pushing out babies. The ones with the multiple baby dads, that's what she is at this point. She's just an incubator pushing out babies. There's actually no value there. There's nothing left there. Baby goes in and comes out. That's it. That's what you get with a lot of these Fefails with multiple baby dads. She's just a box that carries babies at this point. It's not even about the mother. It's not even about the child. She's just doing it because she can. And then they'll have the nerve to talk about the standards that the next man needs to bring. The next man that is even going to entertain that as a wife is a simp. That's the man that's going to entertain a single mom is a simp. Because any man in his right mind who has standards, who actually cares about anything, who actually has high self-esteem, is not going to choose a single mom. That's never going to be an option for him. A man who actually has high self-esteem, a man who actually is masculine, a man who is traditional is never going to choose a single mom. So any man that chose these single moms is just a straight up simp and has no options. Okay? That's a thirsty man. A thirsty man or a man who has very low self-esteem. Like he has really low self-esteem. He actually believes that he can't do any better other than being the single mom. That's why they say that the best come up for a single mom is a desperate man, because that's really what it is. You ain't going to get a man who's not desperate choosing a single mom as a wife. Unless he's a baby dad. But a man who's childless, masculine, and has options is not going to choose a single mom. That's why majority of these single moms never get married. No, they never get married because what man in his right mind would want to marry another man's mistake? A lot of these Fefails popped out mistakes that they chose to have. They chose to be degenerate. They chose to take the risk. The risk was pleasing. Do you know what? I'm going to take the risk to be a single mom until they became one. Now it's a problem. They didn't mind taking the risk until the risk manifested into the actual consequence, which is a baby. Now the risk wasn't worth it. What have I walked into? You walked into me talking about single moms being degenerate. That's what. You walked into single moms are the least desired. Because everything about their reality reflects failure. Everything about a single mom's reality reflects failure. You are not going to get success from single moms or their pitneys. You're not even going to get an ounce of intelligence from her. If you really think you was ever going to get any type of intelligence from the single mom, you ain't going to get that. That was never going to happen. Just wrap it up. Just admit that you are now entertaining a bird brain. That's really now where it is, where it's at. You are just now entertaining a bird brain because there's no one here that's going to be a single mom and actually can say, she's an intelligent, you're not going to get that. It's a different type of low vibration that a lot of these Fefails are in. That's their frequency. Failure is the frequency they are in. They didn't think anywhere higher than their coochie. That's really what you have with a lot of these single moms. Because if the number one reason is they've never been married, then you know damn well the highest they really thought was their coochie. They didn't think any higher than their coochie. And the worst part is they always want to say men are the most lustful. Men are the ones who are this. So are these Fefails. So are these single moms. Do you know how lustful you have to be to let any man not inside you that didn't even want to make you into his wife? That really reveals the type of conversation, that really reveals the relationship she had with this man. The fact that this man impregnated you, he impregnated you and still didn't make you into a wife. It doesn't only show the fact that how he saw you, but it shows the nature of this relationship. It was never a real relationship. It was just two people getting their cheeks clapped. A man who truly loves and respects his woman is just going to marry her. Even if they wasn't married, the child is here, let's be a family. That's simple. Boom, bam, boom. Don't need to talk about it. We don't even need to make it a thing. Let's just get married. Because I love you, you love me, we have a family. So when this man busted a nut inside you and you carried his child for 9 months and he still didn't marry you, now we got to take a look at this relationship. Now we got to look at what this relationship really stemmed from. Because it clearly it didn't come from love. It didn't come from any real value. It came from lust. So a lot of these single moms are very lustful because they are just in these useless relationships, useless situationships, shacking up with men for lust. They don't even conceive these pitneys with love. A lot of these pitneys are not conceived with love. They're conceived with lust. Men that actually love their women marry them. So a lot of these Fefails, a lot of these single moms are actually they're much more lustful than men are. Usually men get labeled to be lustful, but a lot of these single moms, they were okay with being in the streets. Now they want to act like they got some type of standard because they have a pitney. That's what really happens. See, now they have the pitney, they can't be acting like that. They can't act as promiscuous. They can't really act as reckless. They still are reckless. They still are promiscuous, but they have to act differently now. The key word is act. She didn't change. She's just acting differently. Because now there's another little human being watching you every single day. So to some extent, she's forced now to act a little bit different. Don't mean she's different, but she's going to try and act differently. That's the only thing that happened. Now she's going to try and be something she's not, like traditional. Now she's going to try and have all these standards that she never had. That's the only thing that really happens. The pitney comes out and now she has to face the responsibilities. But best believe she is just as promiscuous as she was before she popped out that pitney. That pitney happened not because of love, not because of a relationship that was going to end in marriage. No, that relationship was never going to end in marriage. That relationship was never going to last. It was supposed to only start and end in the bedroom, but it ended with a child that they both didn't want. But she chose to keep. And a lot of times these Fefails, they also leave their relationships. They leave their baby dad. Why? Because she never even wanted him like that. She was there for lust. How is it that a lot of these single moms leave their relationships? If you really cared about any type of standard, if you really cared about that child, and if you really did love this man, you wouldn't just up and leave the relationship. You would stay. Because now you're a family. So if it's easy for you to just leave and he's not even your husband, he was just clapping your cheeks, where did this really start? Where did this really actually start? That's why a lot of these single moms' pitneys come out degenerate. Because they weren't even conceived with love. A lot of their fathers are incarcerated as well. A lot of their fathers are incarcerated. So it's not even just the fact the baby dad, maybe she left the baby dad or the baby dad didn't want to be a father, but a lot of them are incarcerated. What does that tell you? A lot of these Fefails will engage with degenerate men just as much. Do you really think that was out of love or lust? 2.7 million children have at least one parent who's incarcerated. So a lot of these baby dads are behind bars. That's why 85% children from fatherless homes are more likely to exhibit behavioral dysfunction than those of a two-parent household. A lot of these pitneys are coming out dysfunctional. Do people really think that was also a coincidence? That a lot of these pitneys are coming out dysfunctional? 85% are more likely to come out dysfunction than a two-parent household. See, a lot of these baby mamas are just as dysfunctional as these baby dads that they love to complain about. That's why you both matched. There's a reason why you both clicked in the beginning, because you are just as dysfunctional as the men that you complain about. That's why your pitney comes out to be a failure like you. See, they can't teach their sons and daughters to do anything different. And a lot of times, people don't want to accept. I'm not saying all the time, but what I am saying is genetic makeup is a real thing. Genetic makeup is a real thing. Sometimes you are going to be born with traits that you don't want. And unless you are conscious to the fact that, well, I'm more likely to be this and be that because my parents was, and you actively do everything you can to not be that, you are more likely born to be a failure. And a lot of these single moms don't want to admit that. Because if you, as a single mom, was already dysfunctional, was already reckless, that genetic makeup, and let's say the father is also the same way, that genetic makeup is only going to be passed down to the pitney. That genetic makeup is only going to be passed down to the pitney. If you really think the pitney is most likely going to come out to be this great, responsible genius, then you've been fooled. You've lied to yourself. See, and the reality is, a lot of these single moms don't actually want to take accountability. Don't actually want to take a look at and say, you know what, I actually have problems. I actually have issues, and there's things about me that I need to change. So then maybe they can be able to pass down that knowledge to their pitnings and say, well, these are the things that you are most likely going to need to change. No, they don't even get that far. So they are just, this is why they say generational curse. Where do you think that comes from? Your whole gene pool is degenerate. All the character traits that you was birthed into came from your mother, who was an emotional, reckless, promiscuous Fefail. And if you don't acknowledge that as early as possible, you are just going to end up in the same swamp that she did. It's just that simple. Thank you, Derwin Walker, for the $3 US. Keep them analyzing their behavior. Thank you. I know a lot of these. But a lot of times, this is why I say a lot of these single moms are born to be single moms. You would actually think that this is why I say people don't change. Because a lot of these Fefails love to say that people change, but you as a single mom was never going to change either. This is why majority of them are poverty stricken. This is why majority of them neglect their children. This is why majority of them don't even finish college or high school, don't even have degrees. 66% of single moms don't have degrees. The majority are the same. So the reality is, this was what they were always going to do. You take it back before she got pregnant and give her the 2 different choices, she's going to make the same degenerate choices or even worse. You wasn't going to get anything new from these Fefails. And a lot of these Fefails always want to make it seem like you can change and become something new because that's what they want to believe. They are telling themselves this. It's like trying to do therapy on yourself. They want to believe that they can be someone new. But you make the same choices over and over again. No, this is who you are. You was always gonna go to the streets and get your cheeks clapped. And you was always going to enjoy being in them streets until now you had to face your consequences. The only reason why these Fefails don't enjoy the streets anymore is because they failed. Yeah, failure doesn't feel good. Failure doesn't look good either. But they failed. So a lot of times these single moms and a lot of these Fefails always want to make it seem as if they can change, they can become someone new because they want it to be true. They want to one day wake up and be successful. That's what they want. They want to wake up one day and change their life. They want to wake up one day and be somebody new. See, that's why they want to heavily promote, well, people change, men change. No one changes. You are who you are. And these are the choices that you made. It's either you suck it up and admit it and maybe do something different, but admit that this is what you did because this is who you are, or nothing really is going to change in your life. Doesn't mean you change. See, a lot of these females don't ever want to admit that I actually am promiscuous. No, you will never hear them say that. The reason why I became a single mom, the reason why they became a single mom is because they were promiscuous. It's because they were lustful. It's because they didn't care about traditional value. They won't say that because they want to save face. They want to be somebody else that will be respected in society. But this is why single moms are the least desired, because no one's buying that. The only one that's buying it is the sisterhood, the sister code that also is failure like you. So they will just push out the same message, the same type of nonsense to make you feel better because it makes them feel better. So yes, single moms are the least desired and always will be. I want to thank every single one of you for joining me today on my live. I am going to be locking it off a little bit early today, but I will be back live same time tomorrow. So definitely keep an eye out. Just want to thank everyone. Thank you everyone on TikTok, and thank you every single one of you on YouTube. Thank you for joining me. I appreciate your support. Thank you. Shout out to you too, Keith. So yeah, have a good day, a good night, and hopefully you will join me tomorrow again. So yes, thank you. Bye.